You don't have to look far to find blue bins like this one, or the ones that collect your empty bottles.
Yes.
They are popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
We're starting to hear the message about the importance of recycling and what happens to the bottles and the cans once they get to the material recovery centers. That is the big question. We headed to one of those facilities in Winnipeg, and Krista Rust from the Canadian Beverage Container Recycling Association, the folks that we often call from Recycle Everywhere. Yep. She took us to Terra to give us a behind-the-scenes look at what happens. We're seeing a lot more of these blue bins popping up all over the city, and Krista, it seems like people are getting more into the habit of recycling their bottles.
They are. In 2010 we had a recovery rate of 42%. Now we're up to 53% just 2 short years later. So people are using the bins.
Now that they're getting into the habit, what happens with those bottles?
Well, you put the bottle in the bin and we can head into the multi-material recovery facility to check that out.
All right, here we are in our snazzy safety gear inside the Terra facility. So once the bottles arrive here, Krista, what happens to them?
Well, all the containers are then sorted by the type. So the plastic beverage containers will be sorted into a plastic stream. The cartons will be separated into cartons, and the cans also separated.
How are they sorted? What kind of process do they go through?
Well, there's both a mechanical sort process up to individuals who are grabbing things out of a fast-moving conveyor belt. So it's a pretty intensive and speedy process. Well, once they're sorted, the products go into the baler. The baler will put everything into a nice bale like the ones we have behind us here, and strengthen those up with some metal ties, and those bales are then ready to go.
You can see the individual pieces just crushed in there. How many bottles are in these bales?
Well, if the plastic ones here, these guys, each of those bales are 500 kilograms approximately, a little bit more, a little bit less. But inside there, for the beverage containers, for the plastic, is 25,000 beverage containers on average.
Wow, and I mean cans are smaller. How many go into those?
Cans are smaller. They suggest from our audits about 39,000 will be in those typical bales there.
So then what happens to these bales? Once they form them, where do they go?
Well, then the facility will then go in and take those bales, load them onto a truck, and then they will be sold off onto market. So within Canada, some beverage container bales will go to Alberta. Some of the recycled aluminum heads down to the States. Same with some of the plastics as well. Just goes to those folks who then will go and turn it into post-consumer products. They can be used for just about anything. You've probably seen some of our ads on the aluminum cans. They can be used as airplane parts. So something as simple as that, or they can be transformed back into beverage container cans at the same time. With plastic, we have some great merchandise that we have around with our street team. We've got jackets and shirts and hats. The majority of that stuff will have a certain percentage of recycled content, all the way up to 100% recycled content.
What kind of reaction do you get from people when they realize that these bottles are used for so many other things?
I think people are pretty excited. It was a fact that a lot of people just didn't know what happened when the beverage container went into the bin, and they didn't know what it could become. So knowing what it has an ability to become, I think it encourages people more and more.
Quite the collective effort to definitely make our environment greener.
Definitely. It was part of this idea of a continuous loop, right? We have the ability to recycle the plastic bottles that are from a virgin material and reuse them over and over again instead of collecting more and more virgin material. So we're helping to make everything a little bit greener as well.
It's incredible just how much goes into that facility, but there are dozens of them in the province because more and more of us are recycling more and more things.
Thank goodness.
So because of that, there just needs to be more space to be able to handle them. The folks at Recycle Everywhere brought us these plastic chips.
Ooh, chips.
Don't eat them.
Oh, really?
So the plastic bottles and the containers are made into these chips, and then these things are these are the ones that are reused for various things.
Just very tiny. These are all clear plastic.
These are clear plastic ones. I mean,
You had a bag of green ones as well.
Yeah, we had a bag of green ones, but they wouldn't show up very well in the studio.
Yeah.
The thing that struck me when we went into the Terra facility, when we watched some of these containers go down the conveyor belt, there were a lot of them that weren't cleaned out properly. peanut butter jars that
yeah.
still had some of the peanut butter on the inside.
Yeah, what's the deal there? Because sometimes I'll rinse it out, but peanut butter, that goes in the blue bin for me.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to clean that out? Is it better if I clean that out?
It's a good idea to clean it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
just imagine when you have milk in a jug and you've left some of the milk at the bottom of the jug, how rancid that smells after it's been sitting there. I mean, the process is actually pretty quick as it turns over from you putting it into your blue bin, it getting into the facility, and then it being baled and then broken down and whatever else. It's a pretty quick process, but at the same time, it gets pretty stinky.
Nice. Yeah, that's not ideal.
Later this morning, we're going to tell you what things like this, this little cooler, we have a rain jacket. Yeah. How many bottles, plastic bottles, are used in some of these products?
Very good.
It's kind of fascinating. I thought it was neat.
Quick question. Yeah. How come you weren't on the line going like this, trying to grab cans? I really wanted to see how you would be at grabbing. Eva, grab all the cans. That would have been amazing.
I'd be fast enough at that.
I know. That's why it would have been awesome.
I had my hard hat on, though. That was pretty good.
And ear protection as well. I saw that.
Just in case. Being safe.